Welcome. It's time for our Daily Connections. I'm Merideth Orlow, your host. Today on the program, we'll explore options that make your child's college expenses affordable and offer interesting insight on how financial aid is awarded. Whether your child is still in diapers or driving their first car, now is the time to think about how you'll pay for their college. Even with tuition rising every year, you may have options that make expenses more affordable. Here, with some information on preparing for the cost of college tuition, is Felicia Gopaul, who's a financial planner and owner of College Funding Resource. Now, Felicia, I know that you are a college planning specialist.
Yes, correct? I am.
College planning specialist will hopefully have answers to the questions that I so dearly want to ask.
I should hope so.
I know I'm having cousins that are going to be going into college soon, and I know it can be a struggle. I mean, with the cost of tuition rising, how affordable is college for parents? How can they know?
Well, I think most parents are feeling like college is very unaffordable. And actually, there's a report put out by the National Center for Public Policy and Higher Education, and basically what they've done is they've graded all the states across the United States on how they do for affordability. The surprising thing about that particular report is the highest grade that any state received is C-. The state that I'm from, New Jersey, has a grade of D.
So our colleges are receiving grades for their affordability.
Yes.
That if students were coming to them with those same grades, they wouldn't accept them as students.
Absolutely, and it basically supports what parents are feeling, which is college is becoming less and less affordable for each and every one of them, no matter how much they make.
Oh my goodness. So with that in mind, then what kind of options might we have?
Well, when people think about financial aid, it really comes from, there's about $135 billion that the federal government offers for financial aid. It comes from grants, scholarships, as well as student loans. But however, the primary source for college for most parents and students is really the parents and students themselves. That is always a surprise to them because they always think the federal government's going to come in and save them, but the first and foremost person who's responsible for that is the parent and the student.
So if they're paying for college, should they have to fill out the financial aid forms?
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how much you make. I believe that everybody should fill out the forms. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is it puts you in the game. So they always say that you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. Well,
I love that.
This is definitely one of those circumstances. It also gives you some options. Schools have something they have called professional judgment, which means that if you're a smart and talented student, and every parent believes that their kid is smart and talented, then despite how much you make, the colleges can make a choice to put together a financial aid package that would be an incentive for you to consider them highly.
That can help you. Excuse me, that can help you. So no matter what, make sure that you do fill out the financial aid applications.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, how does the government calculate how much you can afford to pay?
Well, it really starts with the financial aid forms. The primary financial aid form is the FAFSA, which is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid.
FASA.
FASA. And basically what they do is you fill out your personal information, assets and income, that sort of thing, put it into the FAFSA form, and you get a student aid report. And on the student aid report, it says how much you as a family are expected to make, and that's how much you are expected to pay, I should say, each and every year your student is in college.
Oh my. So that's an EFC, the expected family contribution. So how can you find out your EFC? I mean, if you're projecting, if you're forecasting, you've got a child who's not necessarily applying for colleges right now, is there any way that you can get a handle on what the government is probably going to expect you to pay as a family?
Absolutely, and I tell parents all the time that would be one of the first things that I would suggest that they do is go on the internet, put in EFC calculator and find an EFC calculator. The colleges themselves often will have one, and you can use that as kind of a gauge for your expected family contribution. Now, it may be unofficial, but it probably puts you in a good mindset of how much you're going to be expected to pay, providing that the schools don't use professional judgment and award you more because your kid is smart and talented.
And that would just be wonderful anyway.
Absolutely, it would be wonderful.
How old would you say? I mean, if my child's a freshman in high school right now, is that a reasonable thing to do?
I think that's
if they're 10 years old.
I think it's a reasonable thing to do at any age. And the reason I think it's a reasonable thing to do at any age is because if you're making a lot of money today and you expect your wages to go up in the future, if you don't qualify for need-based financial aid today, you're probably not going to qualify for need-based aid in the future. Most people's salaries are not keeping pace with inflation, with the costs that in colleges are inflating at. So if you're not going to qualify today, probably not going to qualify in the future.
Now, you had some great information about private versus public schools, and sometimes people are a little bit afraid of the private schools.
Absolutely. One of the things that I tell people is your expected family contribution does not change no matter what school it is. So if your expected your EFC, if you will, is $10,000, a public school might cost you $15,000. Your EFC is $10,000, so your demonstrated need in that particular situation is $5,000.
Okay, we're just doing the simple subtraction there.
Simple subtraction. However, if you're at a private school might cost $30,000. Your expected contribution is still $10,000, and the cost of the school, your demonstrated need in that particular circumstance, is $20,000. So, despite the fact that the cost of college has doubled, what you are expected to pay has not changed. So it's the same price to go to. It should be the same price to go to either one of those colleges, just based on your expected family contribution. But the thing to remember about that is not every single school can afford to pay all of your demonstrated needs.
Right. And that's something that you've got to have a discussion with the school about, or do some research yourself about, correct?
Absolutely. They often have it on their websites. They have how much of a demonstrated need they as a policy generally fund, and they also you also could find that out by asking the financial aid office. Either one.
A lot of good information, but don't cancel out the private schools as an option.
Do not cancel out private schools as an option. You never know what type of financial aid you'll be able to get.
Now, when parents sit down with you to plan their college options, what do they typically hope to accomplish?
It generally falls into four categories. They generally want to qualify for financial aid. They're going to want scholarships. They're going to want to keep any assets that they've kind of accumulated.
Well, everybody wants to keep their money.
They want to keep their money.
You work hard for it. Tuition costs are skyrocketing, so I'm sure those are the primary.
Those are the primary things, and then the last thing that they want to do is they want to be able to manage college inside of their existing cash flow. They've already got commitments that they want to do. They want to be able to do this and everything that they've been doing up to their student going away to college.
Well, lastly, what are some things that parents should be thinking about that could help them prepare for sending their child to university or college?
Well, I would say the most important thing is just be prepared. Understand how the process works, understand how financial aid works, understand what your expected family contribution is. If
the EFC.
Your EFC is. If you've got time to save, go ahead and save. That's always a good thing. And just know that no matter where your child wants to go, there's a way to get them there.
Wherever they want to go, there's a way to get them there, and there is never too early to start planning for a college financial plan.
No, absolutely not.
Thank you, Felicia, very much. I'm hoping that this advice helped us all, so thank you.
Thank you.